Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Vocations with Kiki Yeung. I'm Kiki, and this is
Shin.
And
hi everyone, I'm Connie Chung.
woohoo! Jimmy and Connie up in here. Today we're just gonna chat, hang out. Jimmy, what do you do?
I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yes, he's a super stand-up comedian. He's also in Sweet and Sour Chicks. If you guys watched the series, he plays my husband.
Yeah, I play her kind of abusive husband.
Totally mentally abusive.
Yeah, mentally.
We'll get into that. And Connie, what's your occupation?
I'm the CEO of Asian Americans Advancing Justice LA.
Wow, so amazing. That's so amazing. We just did a benefit show for the Lunar New Year of the Tiger at the Hollywood Improv.
You did? It was awesome. It was super funny, and you raised money for us, and we got to have some laughs, and you got money for our organization, so it was awesome.
Oh, yes. And then we brought the lion dance to Hollywood Improv for the first time.
No way, really?
Yes, the white people are like, oh, let's take some pictures.
Yeah, I think the white people went crazy.
That's
They're like, what is this?
Yeah, there's a lion. They were dancing. Yeah, we just couldn't get the firecrackers,
Yeah.
I think that's illegal.
Yeah,
right?
I think, I might have set a fire or something. Wouldn't be good.
So we were talking about earlier that you were going to be a lawyer, and you are a recovering lawyer. What's going on?
Well, she was recovered, and now she's back.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back.
She relapsed
I
into being an
did.
attorney.
Yeah, I started out as a lawyer that was like straight out of college. I went to law school, and then I practiced for a couple of years. I was at the ACLU and a place called the Housing Rights Center doing civil rights. And then after practicing like 6 or 7 years, I came to the realization I don't like being a lawyer, and no one likes lawyers. Like, no one likes lawyers. So I quit practicing, and I ended up being the executive director of a nonprofit that did social services like mental health, domestic violence, child welfare. We were running a foster family agency, and I was so much happier doing that. And I was like, I'm never going to be a lawyer again. I'm a recovering attorney, all these things. And then during the pandemic, when we saw the rise in anti-Asian hate, when we saw the murder of George Floyd, I thought about it. I was like, if there's ever a time to go back into civil rights, it has to be now. So then I went back and went to Advancing Justice LA, returned to my legal roots. I became an active member of the bar again because I was inactive for years. So, yeah, I guess now I'm a lawyer again, reluctantly.
Oh, I just got goosebumps. So cool. Because you want to champion for our rights. Look at that right here. Like body right here. She's doing this for us. Asians.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you thought about being a lawyer yourself?
Well, I did more than think about it. I actually went through law school to get busted for selling weed.
Oh my gosh, you went through the hell of law school, particularly the 1L. You survived your 1L year.
Yeah. I survived the 1L. They say the first year they scare the shit out of you. The second year they work the shit out of you. And the third year they bore the shit out of you. Oh. So I went through all three to get my degree. But while I was in law school, I think it just wasn't my path. I started selling weed, which was very illegal back then. Now it's like everybody thinks it's just like funny. But back then it was a felony. So it kind of put a stump into sort of my path. And during probation, I found stand-up comedy. And so it just put me on a completely different path. And fast forward 12 years, I'm now doing stand-up for a living. Doing it with all my friends, so it's just been an amazing journey.
Yeah, Jimmy produces the best shows. He has shows in all the major clubs. They always sell out. I've been on them. It's amazing.
So does Kiki. Crazy Woke Asians. You got to check that out too.
Yeah, if you're listening to
We're
this.
all plugging each other.
Well, I feel like you dodged a bullet. Like, how many Asian lawyers are there? There are a dime a dozen. But to be the producer and a stand-up comic is like, it's golden to be Asian American doing that. So that's awesome. Good for
I feel
you.
very blessed. Yeah, sometimes we don't know what our best interests are, right? Yeah, we think if we get certain things, we'll be happy and then the universe puts you on a different path and you end up happier than you would have ever been. So,
how about your parents?
They were real upset in the beginning. And
surprised.
They thought I was doing real estate here in California for many years.
Oh.
And now my dad finally figured out Facebook. So he sees that I'm making a living and doing all these shows. And now he writes on my wall. He's like my biggest supporter now. And he writes, "You are #1 comedian in the world, very handsome man." And to all my friends too, I think you're one of his targets as well. But yeah, he'll put in broken English with like emojis and stuff. So they thought it was my mom because his name's Daniel. And they go, "Oh, Danielle, your mom is so," because there's so many emojis on there.
Oh, how cute.
But now he's like so proud because he sees that I'm happy and I'm doing something that I really love.
And he saw you, right? At the Tacoma.
Oh, yeah. Right before the pandemic, I sort of experienced a miracle because I thought my dad would never come around from accepting that I'm a comedian now instead of being a lawyer because he paid for being a lawyer and everything. And so I was scared to invite him to a show. And then during that time, a friend of mine's mom passed away. And she said she would give anything to hear her mom nag at her one more time. And so that really touched me. And I said, you know what? I don't want to have any regrets. I'm going to invite my parents. So they bring 10 of their friends. Half of them don't speak English.
Probably better.
Yeah. Probably they laughed. They laughed though. They were faking it. And during my set, my dad started filming me. And they told him to stop, but he didn't stop. He wouldn't stop because he's a stubborn Korean, right? And during that time, I realized that he was just that proud of me. He probably like watched it later, and showed all his friends. He's just that proud now. And so, but I found out later that he brought 10 of his friends because he thought nobody was going to be there.
That's so supportive.
Yeah. So he had no idea, and it was a sold out show. So yeah, it was a proud moment.
And I remember you put up our picture because we're married. We have a wedding scene.
Yeah,
and our chicks. And then he saw it. You're like, "I got married."
Yeah. No, he actually has that. Believe it or not, he has that picture in a frame, and acts like in his imagination. He says, "Sky is my son." So he finally has a grandkid.
Can you send me that?
I swear, this is not a lie.
Season 2.
Yeah. He took the picture and put it in a frame, like imagine, because he always wants just like Asian parents, they want a grandkid.
I should make you do a FaceTime and then like have him make a cameo.
Yeah. But my girlfriend doesn't like that at all.
And she's also in the season 1.
Yeah.
So
what was funny is during the premiere they were playing it, right? And then on one of the parts they find out that I cheated on her, and everyone goes, "Asshole!" And I felt like going, "That's actually my real girlfriend that I'm cheating in that scene with." So I'm not that much of an asshole.
Yeah, because she would never let you make out that hard with an actress.
Yeah, well, we started with that. I mean, Kiki's crazy too. She had like auditions. Yeah. This is like before the Me Too movement.
Yes. And the actress was great. I was improvising.
Act like she was, give him a lap dance, and I'm like, oh, crap.
She was really going for it.
I was like, this is like the kind of like scene that I was like.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised she went for it.
I wasn't expecting that. I was like, whatever you both talk about it, what you're comfortable with. Yeah. And then I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and Kiki wanted to just see if there was some chemistry there. And she started giving me a lap dance, and I'm like, this is like the
real tough audition for you. You have to sit there and take lap dance
and I was like,
women.
next. I was like, let's do a couple more of these before we make a decision.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So let's talk about you some more, Connie. What do you do when you're not lawyering and, stopping Asian hate?
Oh, well, I have 3 kids and a dog we got during the pandemic.
4 then.
Yeah, so I have no social life whatsoever.
How old are the kids?
My kids are 9, 12, and 17.
You are amazing.
I don't know how you two. I don't know how you two even do it all. Like Kiki, I know has a kid.
I'm a 6-year-old.
6-year-old. Like you both, you have like 3 kids. Like, how do you ladies do it all?
Look at her skin.
No. I just have to lower my standards when it comes to being a mom. It's like as long as they get to school and they survive and they don't die, it's a win for the day, right?
This is comedic. You should try stand-up comedy.
Lawyers.
You really do. I think every working mom knows you do like a half-ass job at work and you do a half-ass job at home, and you just hope it's enough to kind of keep things together. So
I'm still trying to be like do my best, and I'm feeling like oh my gosh,
when I compare myself to like other moms.
Oh, I can't.
Do you remember like during the pandemic, everyone started like cooking and baking,
learning new language. I'm like
and on Facebook, my friends were like making homemade bread and working these elaborate meals, and I was like, if my kids got like a bowl of Cheerios and I actually sliced bananas on it, like that was a win for the day. That was it.
That's right. Oh my gosh, your skin is so nice. I can't believe you have 3 kids.
Thank you. Makeup
I should shut up from that.
everything.
No,
Yeah.
it's like Supple. There's no
like Michael Yo
Asian don't
says,
raisin.
Asian don't raisin.
That's right. We're
Wow.
lucky that way.
3 kids, teenagers almost.
Yeah,
Two-
one 11th grader, one 6th grader, and one 3rd grader. So 3 different schools: elementary, middle, and high school.
Does
So I
it-
never know what's going on.
Does it get better?
I'm waiting. I figure I have my 3rd grader. I have 9 years left. Not that I'm counting, and then they'll be out, and then I'll let you know.
18.
Well, I think the hope of it getting better is what keeps you going, right? Like
Right.
when they're in high school,
Right.
it'll get better. When they leave home, they'll get better.
And I'll be sad
It'll-
when he
and then-
leaves. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you will definitely. The
Oh yeah,
only
my
child.
son. Yeah, we want to have another one, but I don't know, man. It's not easy. It's
Yeah, 2 is like 4 times harder than 1. You know, people always thought it would be like double the work. No, it's way more. So
they
just
telling
be ready.
me. No, they tell me
Yeah.
2 is easier. They help each other. They watch it. That's a lie, huh?
People
They
lie because they want you to procreate and they don't
They're
want the
lying.
world to end. So people lie. It's like the way I lie about childbirth. They don't tell you any of the real shit until after the baby's born, and then you're like, oh, now you tell me it's too late.
Yeah, they're like terrible 2s. It gets better. I think it's getting worse. Like he's like a handful. I took him to Barnes and Nobles yesterday, and he was just crying over a Ghostbuster toy. I wouldn't get him. I'm like, you have toys everywhere. You're gonna throw everything. I'm not paying $15 for this little trap.
Yeah.
And he was I had to carry him out of the store. I'm
And
like,
Sky is a
"You're
great
not too."
actor too, man.
Oh,
He
he's
would
also in it.
act, yeah. But if you keep him on set too long,
Yeah.
he
Like,
turns into a diva. So
A diva, a demon.
demon, yeah.
Oh my goodness. When are you gonna have some kids? We have to ask since we're talking about kids.
Oh yeah. This is a question I face every holidays when I go home.
You're at holidays
So
right
I have
now.
a good answer. I go, right now is the worst time to have a kid. It's a global pandemic going on. For
I thought
crying
it's
out
over
loud.
already.
I hope so. I
My
hope it is over.
grandmother, before she passed away, she used to ask me all the time, when are you going to get married and have kids so I can have great grandchildren? And then she would say, every morning at 5 a.m., I go to 새벽 기도, which is on sunrise prayer. So before the sun even rises, she would meet up with her other like Korean grannies and they would pray.
Aw.
And she would pray every day that I would get married. And I was like, we don't need God intervening. Like, that's way too much pressure. But yeah, it's serious stuff in the Korean community.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you get married, when you're going to have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And then you got married while she was still around?
I did, but I
Okay.
was like, I made her. I was like, you can't bring God into it. Stop putting me on your prayer list. Like I was like, please, it's too much pressure.
Oh, how
It worked
cute.
though.
I guess
It
so.
worked.
I guess
Yeah, you
so.
can't deny the results.
Oh yeah. How many years have you been married?
It's gonna be 15 years this year.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Does that get any easier? Or?
It gets easier, but it's just not as you lose the excitement.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
we know everything about each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, right? That's
Yeah.
called intimacy.
how long have you been with your girlfriend?
5 years. Yeah.
Only if it seems like they're married or they've been together forever.
Yeah, it feels like we're married.
Yeah.
We've been together forever.
So do it already. No, I'm just kidding.
And where did you two meet?
We actually met. I teach comedy, and so it was like a time when I wasn't even looking. You know, I was just kind of working on my career, and I started teaching this class. And she just walked in as a student one day,
Wow.
and then I didn't want to start dating her right away, so we would just be friends and go to lunch and go to you know how it starts with the open mics
That's awesome.
that I didn't want to go to, but I went for her. Yeah.
But that's great. You're both fun and funny, so you must be like the couple everyone wants to hang out with.
Yeah, we laugh a lot, and that's what keeps us going for sure. I think that's so important, right?
Yeah, for sure. I've been with my husband, well, only 4 years now, but I've known him since I was 17, so
Oh my god.
it's too long. Yes. Like we broke up and got back together. So it's like a long, yeah.
Well, you know what they say: if you let someone go and they
That's-
come back, it was meant to be.
That's
so.
what he keeps saying.
That's so sweet.
He's like, you know what's good.
Yeah, you guys. He has it framed in the living room.
Oh boy. Yeah.
That quote.
Yes. What else you guys want to chat about? What's going on? Okay, let's talk about the lady that was stabbed 30 times? I know it's
I was gonna
graphic,
say that,
people.
yeah.
I
New
can't
York.
forget about her. Christina.
I know. It's terrible. We still continue to see it. I mean, it's been almost a whole year since Atlanta. and yet we still see like our community members being attacked and victimized. But it's interesting. So at Advancing Justice LA last year, so we're the nation's largest civil rights and legal service organization for the Asian Pacific Islander community. So when everything started getting really bad last year, we really focused on how do we support victims, how do we respond to this, how do we address the violence in our community, right? But, this year as we're moving forward, I'm trying to reframe it because we can't always be reacting to violence to our community. It's a very negative framing, right? What are we producing? What are we building? And so this year, we're really focusing on how do we build for the API community empowerment and racial equity, and how do we bring that forward? So this year also happens to be the 30th anniversary of the LA civil unrest, also known as LA uprising, also known as LA riots, also known in the Korean community as Haigu. And so we're thinking in this moment when you've seen both Stop Asian Hate movement, where you've seen the Black Lives Matter movement, where we're seeing what's happening in the Black and Asian communities. How can we reframe what happened 30 years ago and think about what does racial equity look like? And to me, it means building interracial solidarity, particularly I think the Asian and Black communities where it's been so wrought with conflict and there's so much baggage there. But how do we move forward? If we just focus on infighting and what's happened and what's wrong and violence, we're not going to get anywhere. What we need to focus on is how do we work together? What can we build constructively moving forward? How do we reframe the narrative that shows systemic racism hits all of us as communities of color? And only by working together can we fight this bigger structure that keeps us all down. So that's kind of what we're talking about this year. That's what we're looking forward to doing. We want to do like a big concert or an event in late April, on April 29th, which is the date that the civil unrest began. We want to do some events with some of the folks who were involved 30 years ago and talk about, a retrospective about what happened then. Why was it framed so much like Black versus Korean, when actually both communities got really screwed over, in different ways by the system. So can we reframe that and think about it? How do we move forward?
Yeah, it's been really tough. And some of them, I actually know, I have Asian friends in New York that don't think the Asian hate thing is really happening because they've never experienced it. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Well, when I'm on social media, I follow certain sites and then they let me know what's going on, with the hate crimes and stuff. So I do see it. And I mean,
do you feel like it's going up or down?
I think since Atlanta and what happened in Oakland, it's gone down from there. It's not, we don't hear about it in the same frequency, but it's certainly still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a thing today that it's gone up in New York, like the highest since, I don't know. I should read that thing more detailedly, but.
Yeah. And what are some ways that you mentioned the Black and Asian community? What are some ways that we've been rethinking and reframing that relationship?
Yeah. So one thing is when we think about what's happened in the violence in our community, we actually, I don't usually refer to as hate crimes. I talk about hate incidents because to be honest, only about less than 10% of the hate we see actually rises to the level of a crime. Most of it are things like verbal assaults. If somebody says, go back to your effing country or calls you a chink, that's not a criminal act. And
still hurtful.
It's hurtful.
Yeah.
It's still hurtful. But we want to show that it's hurtful even if you don't have a crime there. And the reason that's important is also we want to remind people that we don't always have to rely on law enforcement as the answer. I think there's this kind of view that, if I'm hurt, that I should call the police. But Black Lives Matter has taught us that more police and criminal justice isn't always good for communities of color, particularly the Black and brown communities. And especially if you think it's a racial slur or somebody saying something insulting to you, if you call the police aren't going to arrest anyone under those circumstances anyways, right? You can't do anything. So do we really want to bring more police into a situation that we already know is complicated and where we don't know that the police can do anything and really actually help you? So what we're saying is, what are community-based safety and interventions we can do instead? So our organization does what's called bystander intervention trainings. We teach people, if you were out just walking about on the street and you saw somebody harassing an Asian American, what can you do to intervene? Because, and we have what's called the 5 Ds. And so most people say, well, I don't want to intervene. I don't want to put myself in harm's way. But you don't have to be Superman and go up there and say, like, stop your racism, which feels dangerous. That's actually only one of the 5 strategies. Other strategies are things like distract. So what distract is can I create some sort of diversion or distraction that has nothing to do with the incident, but at least for the moment might cause everyone to stop and like look around or see what is the other thing, because sometimes that distraction is enough to interrupt the conversation, right? So I could be walking down the street, somebody speaking to somebody in an agitated tone who's Asian American, and that person's sort of frozen in this conversation. I could, pretend to drop my cup of coffee, and then all of a sudden everyone's going to look and see what happened. And that's enough of a distraction for just momentary interruption of conversation. And sometimes that's all you need for the person to get away. We hear about women doing this all the time, where it's like if a guy's hitting on her too hard, a friend will come up and just say like, hey, what time is it? Because it's a distraction.
That's good.
Or something like delegation, which is find a person of authority and ask them to help you. So if you're on the bus or the subway and something happens and somebody's being harassed, go up to the bus driver and say, hey, you need to stop the bus. There's something happening back here you need to deal with. Delay is after the incident happened. What could I do to go up and support the victim? So I spoke to an Asian victim once who had been verbally harassed by a man, and she caught it on Instagram. It went viral. And I asked her, what was the scariest part after it stopped, he was asked to leave. And she said, what I needed the most is I asked the police to escort me to my car because I was so scared the man would be waiting in the parking lot and he would harass me again. So a delayed tactic is you help the woman. You say, hey, I was here. I saw what happened. Can I help you? And maybe that means helping her call a friend or a family member, or being a witness, or escorting her to her car. So there's all these different tools you can use that would help create safety in the moment. And that's what bystander intervention is about. And so we really encourage people to do it. You could find it on our website, how to register. It's a free 1-hour Zoom event. And so far, I think 75,000 people have received bystander intervention across the country. Oh, wow. But a lot more could do it.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Let's sign up. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah. When you get
5 Ds
hit on really hard at the bar, you get a friend, come over here and help out and kind of distract so it doesn't escalate.
Yeah, I've always used humor, to try to do that, but not everybody's going to be, that funny to be able to think of something right off the bat. But if I see something, I'll make a joke about it,
And that's great. And like if you're like we've seen or like seniors who are like immigrants getting targeted and harassed because they're seen as vulnerable. I mean, for somebody like that, you can't always expect them to fight back. So that's when we need other people to have their back and just find a way to get involved, whether it's through humor, whether it's through distraction, whether it's one of these other techniques, just to try to help out.
Yeah, I think the distraction and delay is good because people are so scared to be like, I don't want to. Because I saw one that the guy was trying to break up a fight and he got shot at 7-Eleven. This Korean guy, and he died. So
you saw this?
No, I mean I saw on the news.
Oh, right.
Then he
in LA?
died. I forgot where, but there are so many lately that. And that is ingrained in people's minds. Like, oh, I better don't get involved. But if you could just distract them or delay it, then you don't have to be right in the middle, like you said. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Ding, 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 people. You can try that. Sign up. Where do you sign up for this?
You go to our website, advancingjustice-la.org. Yeah. advancingjustice-la.org. And then you'll see bystander intervention trainings. We're actually offering it now in Cantonese, Mandarin, Korean, Tagalog, Vietnamese, and English. So you can take them in language as well for different community members. But I think it's just like a great way to do some sort of training, feel like you've learned something as a way to show solidarity and have some tangible skills to support the community should you be in the midst of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, on a lighter tone. Hi, Jimmy. What's going on with you these days?
I've been busy again, with shows, and I know you have too. But yeah, it's just nice to have, full crowds, sold out crowds again, like the old days.
Oh, but they're still required to wear masks they have to wear masks still, right?
Not inside anymore.
When is the mandate for the masks? I
think it just ended like Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I feel like I went to the movies. We all still had to wear masks. But yeah.
Yeah, as I start to cough right now.
Yeah. Don't give me COVID.
Maybe I should have wore a mask.
It's so nice going to comedy clubs. I mean, that was what was so nice when Crazy Woke Asians, you guys did your event and you you gave the proceeds to us. And for me, it was an excuse to go to a comedy club and go. I was actually going to bring my husband and 2 of our friends, but it's sold out because so many people wanted to go. So I kicked them away and I told them to stay home. But it was awesome. It was just, people need a laugh. People need something to enjoy and look something positive in our lives. So I love comedy clubs. I love stand-up comedy shows.
Yeah, we need it more than ever now.
Yeah.
Yes. We had a veterans show and we gave a bunch of tickets out to veterans and they were just so grateful.
That's great.
Yeah, and then we made jokes that they were going to be in Russia by tomorrow, so we have to, because they're invading Ukraine. It was a joke, but also I said, I was going to join the Air Force. But they always thought I was the kamikaze, so that was an Asian joke. That was my Asian joke for the night.
Do you do jokes about your family? Because like when your parents
of course.
were
That's
there.
That's my favorite subject.
Yeah, how did they handle it?
Actually, I made them stand up. And I made them stand up, and I kind of roasted them a little bit. Yeah, he wanted me to be a lawyer, but I did one out of the 2. At least I'm not gay. So, because he used to call me up all the time, and I think he just wanted me to get married, so it's sort of manipulative. And my dad's kind of funny too, but he'd go, "Why you no married? Why you no kids? You gay?" And so now I told him in front of everybody, no, at least I'm not. I'm a comedian, not gay. So 1 out of 2 isn't bad.
For Korean parents.
I remember my mom told me one day, she's like, Connie.
And I want to qualify that with there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I want everybody.
We love
there's nothing wrong with being gay. I'm just not gay. So. It's just a fact.
Yes, it's a fact.
My mom, she told me, I'm going to go see Margaret Cho because Margaret Cho's mom and I are like high school classmates. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've seen Margaret Cho. And I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, you really shouldn't see Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
Like my mom is like a devout Christian, and she went to the show and she didn't understand like 90% of the jokes, and I was like, thank God, I think it's probably better.
Yeah, she's gotten even dirtier these days. Yeah, she goes crazy.
Good
now.
for her.
Yeah, and
I really want to watch her.
Yeah, and I love her because she's a big advocate of LGBT and all that
being
stuff.
yourself.
Yeah, just being yourself and just being fully yourself. And then actually, I started doing a comedy show at a church during the pandemic.
We did an outdoor.
You're gonna go straight to hell, though.
We all are.
Oh, dude, like I had Michael Rappaport there.
Yeah.
He dropped so many F-bombs. The pastor was there. Like we've had like some of the dirtiest comedians on the planet at this church.
Bill Burr was there.
Bill Burr was there. Like it was uncomfortable until he, basically went up there and cracked a joke himself about like. Because I don't know if you guys know Greg Baldwin.
Yeah,
he has this one. As a kid, he rubbed wieners.
Oh yeah.
With a kid, another kid, but and all this stuff, and then he went up and admitted he rubbed wieners with his friend. Were you there?
Our producer.
Yeah, our producer was there.
Did you rub wieners with somebody? No, you just heard it.
No, so it was just like this amazing relief of like, okay, now we can say what we want because the pastor just went up and admitted he rubbed wieners.
Wow. Everybody rub wieners.
Yeah.
I never thought of rubbing wieners as being like the solidarity movement you need between faith and secular. Church. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah. So it was a unique blend of, and then at the end of the day, what he said to me really made sense. He goes, "I think God's got a better sense of humor than all of us.
Yes.
He created us,
he does.
right? So he's got to have a good sense of humor."
Yeah, we come from him, and all our stuff in our brains comes out. There's got to be a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's great, but that's bold, dude.
That's bold. It's a Presbyterian church too, which is like my parents.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, oh my God, this is Presbyterian because they're like close to sort of Catholic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I was scared, that because you can't control headliners either.
Am
I going to tell Michael Rapp not to say, what he's going to say?
Yeah.
He'd laugh at me and probably go even further, right? So you can't like quiet comedians, So I was scared, but fortunately it all worked out. So
But I think the pastor was sowing a lot of seeds there, right? Like subconsciously, people are like, this church is welcoming us.
Yeah,
there's nowhere else to do comedy.
Yeah, because I think when people think of church these days, they think of this strict sort of, you know what I mean? No freedom. You can't be who you really are. And for him to do that, I think it showed, you know what? The modern church is a little bit more evolved, right? Yeah. You can be who you are. In fact, I found out they have a board member that's trans.
Oh, wow.
So he told me that too.
That's
I was like,
great.
wow, this is the most progressive church I've
I
ever
want to go there.
been to. Yeah, right?
Yeah. Silver Lake, right?
Yeah, Silver Lake Community Church. It's a Presbyterian church, but I think they're more non-denominational, but they are sort of under the Presbyterian. But he's just a young,
awesome.
what reminds me of like a cool, hip youth pastor, like
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's or something.
Justin Bieber was a pastor.
Yeah, exactly. No, he has a pastor. That's why I'd say that. He has like this cool.
Oh, yes, that was my
Judah
pastor.
Smith. Oh, Judah Smith?
Judah
Really?
Smith, yeah, City Church. I got married there. It's called something else now, but it used to be City Church.
Yeah,
I lived in
Seattle.
Belltown, right
Yeah.
there. I got married there.
Oh, wow.
They even paid for our rent like once or twice when things got rough. Like that was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
They're great.
So your pastor is Justin Bieber's pastor? You guys
Yeah,
share
a
the
long
same
time
pastor?
ago. Now I don't, I mean, I don't have private conversations with him, but I know Justin does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're like really good.
Yeah. His dad was still around when I was going to church, and then he passed and then gave the church to him, and then he started rolling with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's really good though. Yeah. I've
Yes,
heard him
he's very
preach and-
charismatic.
Yeah,
He's
and
amazing.
it's more along the like inspirational and
Yeah.
self-improvement type stuff too.
Are
And of
you-
course he talks Bible.
Are you Christian?
I would, identify as Christian, but I'm more like universal. You know what I mean? I believe that there's many
Yes.
ways to God, and that's just one way.
So how
You know what I mean? Whatever works for you is my point.
how have you guys been dealing with the stress, like managing, like spiritually? Let's go.
We've
go
been
there.
speaking in tongues a lot.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've been.
I do speak it.
I know you do. Yeah. We did during one of the shoots. Yeah. I like to make it super awkward when like everyone goes before the show to pray. I start speaking in tongues
I love
really
it.
loud.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in a family like you'd go to Denny's and like you had to pray and the whole family
No,
would sit
when I was a
there?
kid, it kind of scared the crap out of me because all these like Christians would come over and then pray upon us, and I'm like this 10-year-old, and I don't know
that's
what's
too
going on.
overwhelming.
They're like, shabala, shabala,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm like these, like these charismatic Christians, right? And I didn't know what it was, right? When you're a kid. Oh, yeah, I was sweating. I think that's when my alcoholism started. is during that
When
period.
the Pada Chapeau.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, let me get some of that grape juice you guys got up there.
How about you, Connie?
So I grew up in a very religious Christian family, although my family's pretty open-minded and I shouldn't say it that way. It's very progressive also. But I mean, my family still, like we're going to do a party. And when I say party in my mom's side family, that means there's going to be a hymnal and there's going to be prayer. And there we're going to have a little bit of a passage and at least, it should be 2 prayers. There's the opening prayer and the closing prayer. And so that's like, so my husband, who doesn't come from a religious family, he's like, your family parties are like something else. I was like, yeah, it's a little different. You bust out the hymnal, you have the Bible with you. So yeah, they're still pretty religious, although I don't really practice.
I get invited to
Do you
those
identify
parties.
as any type of religion at all, or do you just think you're spiritual or identify as spiritual?
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I do believe in some form of a higher power, a deity, but I don't believe that force has really influences my day-to-day life. So I don't. To be honest, I don't think I'm a very spiritual
so you're a
person.
backslider.
I'm a black hole
kidding,
of
I'm kidding.
spirituality.
Black hole.
I believe more in having a moral compass of what is morality, and that grounds me more. Like when I think about my work, it's about doing what's good and what's right, and that's how I try to raise my kids. But it's not so much from a religious angle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, one book that I read, it's called The Road Less Traveled, and then he has the Further Along the Road Less Traveled, Scott Peck. But it basically talks about the different stages of spirituality, and it gave me a kind of a better overlook of what I thought people weren't spiritual, like people that are scientists. They're looking for truth, but sometimes they can be more spiritually evolved than actually people that say they believe. Because I'm not going to say, what religions or anything, but some people need an institution in order to tell them what to do, to do what's right and wrong, right? And to look for truth. like scientists, they're looking for the truth, and they're like some of my friends that identify as atheists but are more scientific minded. Honestly, they have better morals and values than some of the Christians people that I know.
I think
and so there's
people,
just different, you know what I mean? So there's, let's say there's the first stage is chaotic, where you don't believe in anything, and those are like the criminals and people that are just don't believe in any higher power or any truth whatsoever. Then you have like the fundamental Christians, then you have scientists, then you have like mystics on the fourth level. And then, the book also says before you identify as any of those categories, you probably have a foot in chaotic, a head in, scientific, and, another, you see what I'm saying? So we can all fall under any of those at one time. But not to look at things so black and white, like, oh, you don't believe, so therefore you're not spiritual. You see what I'm saying?
It's so tough when I hear that from my Christian friends. When they're too black and white, things are gray sometimes. It's like too intense. There's no right or wrong, even like good or bad. I mean, certainly there are some things are bad, right? Like if you kill somebody, or you hurt, or you lie, But like I try to teach my son, you're good. Like I don't even want to teach him good actually, because it's like he's like, I'm bad. Like that means I could be really like, I want him to know you're always you just have smart choices and not very smart choices, right? Like because my parents instilled that good and bad thing in me, and so I then you start to have guilt and shame. I think an Asian shame.
I think Asian parents,
right?
especially the former generation. Oh, there's the worst about guilt and shame. You know what I mean? They put a lot of burdens on us that aren't necessarily true or helpful.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I always blamed my parents for that, because I had my mom was the type, if I came home with like a 98% on a test, why wasn't it 100?
Yeah,
You're second place. Why weren't you first?
Oh yeah, no, that's when I realized I was never going to satisfy my parents, so I stopped trying to do it. Seriously, that was the turning point, was when I went to law school. Then they started getting on me about not being married and having kids.
It never ends.
So I was like, it's never going to end, is it? So I decided to just cut myself off from it. And it was hard at first, because you become conditioned. They brainwash you, right? Into listening to them and guilt trips and all this stuff. But once I was free of that, that's when they came around. That's when they came around.
But the problem is, now that I'm a parent, I see myself
doing it.
Oh, you become your parent.
Yes, so easy.
I literally made my kids watch YouTube the other day and watch Nathan Chen and Eileen Gu, the Olympic ice skater and skier. And I was like, look at them. I was like, they are Olympic gold medalists. I was like, Eileen Gu speaks fluent Chinese and English. I was like, and she goes to Stanford. I was like, Nathan goes to Yale. Like, it's so bad. I become my parent.
And then you realize how.
But do you
how
realize
they were doing their
it
best.
and then try to do something different, or do you just go with it?
I realize it and then I move on. Okay. But like I don't. I
so
should
you're
address
better.
it.
They don't. My parents never even realized it.
But
so your awareness,
not correcting
than,
it, I guess. But my poor 9-year-old, like I'm showing her these things. I'm like, really? Does my 9-year-old need pressure? Like she needs to be an Olympic gold medalist and go to Yale. But
totally.
They start young
right now. You better get 110%, right? But how do you? Okay, so I'm trying to parent my kid a different way, like more a new age, like more like you discover things. But then it gets to be a little, I have to pull in the reins a little bit. How do you balance that? Because you have 3 kids, like let them explore, but then. How do you not guilt and shame them to do what? Because when I ask him nicely, please, can you finish your food? Please, can you clean up? Nothing. Then I'm like, hurry up, do it right now. Then he's like, ooh.
Right. Well, it's that fine balance
that's
between
the totally Asian way.
Yeah. Right. You want your kids, you want them to have you want to be nurturing and you want them to live a free and open life, but you also don't want them to be an asshole.
Yes,
right? And that's the constant tension. And so you're always yelling at them because you're like, don't be an asshole. Don't be spoiled. Like, be good. And you want to, you want to bring them back to line and be like, you have to listen. You have to be respectful. And at the same time, you're like, no, I want you to live your life and be free and not have pressure. I don't know either. I feel like I go back and forth all the time.
It's just if you guys know, comment, let us know. If
but then
there's
also,
a video or a book
also
we can
the
learn.
mixed messages. When you go back and forth like that, screws a kid up too.
Really?
I got mixed messages.
Me that.
No, our kids are gonna have
You
years
just
of
can't
therapy.
win.
It's our fault.
You
Keith.
can't
Our
win
kids are
no
gonna have
matter
years
what
of
you
therapy.
do.
They'll be like, "I'm my crazy
and then
Asian
you
mom."
have those kids that have the what seems like the most normal parents, they're cool, they have money, and then their kids end up doing drugs. So there's really no way
I'm just hoping
out
that doesn't happen.
of your fate.
I don't know. I'm just praying. I'm like, he will probably smoke and have a drink. I know that because me and my husband both did when we were young. I was trying to rebel. Like, you to make me feel unworthy, I'm going to smoke and show you how cool and rebellious I am. But I'm sure, yeah. Oh, I love my son. He's such a handful. I talk about him on stage. He's like, I'm a little comedian. He loves making people laugh now.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
so cute.
Is that funny? Okay, put that in your joke. Put that in your joke. He does that now when you see him next time.
Yeah, he's such a smart kid.
So he's on the show with both of you?
Yeah, he's an actor.
Sweet and Sour Chicks. It's about a single mom stand-up comedian. Like, since her husband
it's
cheated.
our kid, as my dad would say.
That's so cute. And and it's framed of the
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
You
That's
have to watch it. Yeah. Wow. All right. What else you guys want to share? Anything? What did you dream about? Have you dreamed lately? Anything this week?
Go ahead, Connie.
I don't dream at all. I crash, I go to sleep, and I wake up. I think I'm too tired. You must have something more interesting.
I honestly have crazy dreams, but I should write them down because I just forget what it is. But I sometimes share it with my girlfriend first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of, I sometimes have drug dreams these days.
What?
From the old
Cocaine
days,
or weed?
All of it.
Oh, wow.
All
It's
of
coming
it.
up to your subconscious.
Yeah, and then when I wake up, I realize it's a dream, and then it's a freebie because
so you were-
I
you
didn't
were
relapse
doing
because I'm
drugs.
in recovery from drugs and alcohol. So when I dream about it, I call that a freebie. Then I don't have to,
So what do you
start
think that
over or
meaning
anything.
is when you dream about doing
I
drugs?
think it's a normal thing. You know what I mean? When I think it's more of an anxiety dream. Like when I'm have anxiety, I'll dream about.
That's
things
how
in my
your
past
escape
and-
was.
Yeah. So it would be like me in the dream, like doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, and then I'll be scared. Oh my God! I just do I have to like reset my days? Because I have 8 years of sobriety, almost 8 years,
Congrats.
and so. So that's like and then when I wake up, I'm relieved, like I said, that, it was just a dream. Thank God. I still have my day. I still have my life. But then
still
it's a
have your life.
freebie because I didn't have to suffer any of the consequences.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
I was in so much stress last year. I couldn't even sleep. I started taking melatonin and the L-theanine. I don't know. It's relax you. And I never dreamed. And then I stopped this year. I was like, I'm going to try to sleep on my own. And then I started dreaming. Just the other night, I was dreaming my husband had long hair, and he was talking to his coworker, who was like an older lady, and then they gave each other a kiss. I don't know what it means.
Did he look good with long hair?
Look different. Look Seattle, like he belonged in Seattle. I don't know. Long curly hair. It's just weird because he's bald. So I don't know. It's weird. And I remembered it. It was strange. I don't know what it means.
That's a weird dream.
But I feel like when I
Maybe,
dream,
maybe you wanted him to be a female.
oh my gosh, really?
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Maybe then he'll listen more.
I'm not
right?
a dream analyst, obviously, but
Then he'll listen more and be more.
yeah, exactly.
Expressive.
Yeah, maybe you wanted him to express more of his feminine qualities.
Because you're very
That's it.
expressive. How
Yeah.
about your husband? Is your
He's not. No.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
feel
definitely
like
on
you
the
can have
quieter side.
two
Is he
expressive
Korean?
people.
Can't.
You know what I mean? It's too
Really?
much.
No.
Yeah, it's too much.
He's half Chinese and half white, and
Oh, wow.
he's very like straight laced,
wow.
very like he's kind of quiet, and so like because I think if we were both loud and we were both this
It'd be
way, it would be
crazy.
too much. Yeah,
But you're
yeah.
not that loud either. You're pretty like.
I feel like she
reserved.
could be.
I can.
Yeah.
be.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I
I have my
sensed a little bit of-
professional
yeah.
side.
Let's bring that out before
Yeah.
this is over. Come on.
I think she requires shots.
Yeah,
shots of
the
tequila.
alcohol does
She'll
help.
go
Yeah.
buck wild on you. Dance on the
Woohoo,
tables.
Asian justice.
Yeah. With a whip. Just whoosh.
Let me train you, bystander. This is how you
Look
do
at me do
it.
it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could see it. Yeah.
Maybe that would increase our numbers if we had a little bit of a whip on.
Yeah.
Then more people come.
There you go.
Dominatrix Connie. Woo. Oh, but you guys are both. Erin is pretty chill.
Yeah, she's chill. I'm more loud for sure. You know what I mean? More expressive, but that's okay.
Guess who's more expressive in my relationship?
That's a hard one now. Of course you.
Yeah, I'm filming some sketch videos for my
Who do you
Instagram.
think's more woke in her relationship?
Oh God, I don't know. Sometimes my husband says the craziest woke stuff. I'm like, where did that come from?
I think only because he thinks you want to hear it.
Really? No, like out of nowhere, he will say something. I'm like, what? But most of the time, he just says nonsense. Like he doesn't care. Like he likes Marvel and Star Wars. You know, I know there's a lot of Marvel, Star Wars fan. I'm not that big of a fan. Are you guys big fans?
Yeah, speaking of movies, what about Asian filmmakers now? Including Kiki.
Oh, yeah.
With Sweet and Sour Chicks 2. Please donate Seed and Spark.
Yes. We're launching that soon. So I'm hoping we can do 6 episodes coming up. And then we'll see what happens. I'm still trying to figure out the storyline. I know there's a guy that she also has a crush on that they're kind of going on a date. And so there's like a team.
Yeah, he's
Jake.
a lot taller than me.
Muscular too.
But I see.
And muscular too. Wow. Way to like rub it in.
Easy, Tiger.
Hey, Team Jake versus Team Tristan. I don't know. Actually, Joanne, another actress in the show, she started Team Jake or Team Tristan.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's funny.
But she can also just go and use
and
some
one of the
dating
pictures
apps.
we were pulling her from, and he's on that side.
Yeah, on the red carpet. That was fun.
Yeah, that was funny.
Cute. Oh, okay. We have a little time left. Let's ask some questions. Okay, when you get to heaven, what would you like God to say?
You did good.
That's what the other people say. Okay, give me something more original.
Really? Is that what other people say?
Yeah.
What other people have said that?
I forgot, but quite a few actually. It's so funny. Maybe I should stop asking that question.
Okay, how about you tried?
I think you're doing more than try. You're doing really well. How about you, Connie?
You did the best you could do.
I think
wasn't
God-
bad. That's what I want to hear.
Wasn't bad.
I think God would be like, you made it? Like, good job.
Connie wants to hear you made it.
She wants to hear good job. You're worthy now.
Pop the bottles. You made it.
Whip, whip, whip.
Are there tequila shots in heaven?
Is that what
I'm
you
more
like?
motivated.
Oh, you like tequila, huh? Wow, she
Yeah,
knows
she mentioned
her.
tequila twice. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think I mentioned it twice. But
yeah, tequila.
Right, we mentioned it.
You don't even drink.
I don't
right?
drink
I don't
anymore,
really
no.
drink either.
No, every time I drink, my face breaks out in cocaine. So not a good look.
I thought you were going to say breaks out with like an Asian glow, but that's different.
No, I didn't have that red face
Oh, no?
syndrome. I wish I did. Maybe I wouldn't have became an alcoholic. But I was one of those people that I could drink and my face never turned red. It was weird.
Yeah, I'll never.
Maybe because I was always so tan.
Yeah, I'll never get a DUI because I have like even like a sip of alcohol and I turn bright red and you can see it
you're
right
one
on
of
me. So I
those.
have to be completely sober.
Yeah.
Or else, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, start smoking weed. Yeah, then no one can accuse you of that.
You know,
You're like, are you saying that my eyes are slanted? You know who I am? I work for Asian hate. All right? I'm an attorney for justice. Mofo, you racist. I'm not high. I'm Asian.
you know, actually, there's that movie, Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, I
Did you
love that
guys see
movie.
Okay, do you remember like the grandpa? How he gets addicted to heroin? He's like, I'm 80 something years old. I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
What's the point? Why
was
does
a
it
great
matter?
movie.
And I kind of thought that was sort of brilliant. Be like, if you're gonna start doing drugs, just wait until you have like a couple years left. Like I've heard morphine is great.
Now
but
we
I wouldn't
know
try it
Connie's
now.
retirement plan.
Right. I just like to
Going
make
to
sure
heroin.
I time it. But time it late enough that it's not going to cause any problems if I'm
There
like
you go.
on
Yeah,
opium
well,
or
you don't gotta go to
heroin
work,
or
yeah.
anything.
Very strategic.
Right?
That is
Very
very-
Asian and
Yeah, very
very
strategic.
organized.
Is that Asian?
Yeah, that's some serious Asian
I'll start
style
at
drug
80.
use. Yeah,
I'll start
do it when
heroin at 80.
I'll get a big retirement money,
Yes.
put a nest
82,
egg,
I'll die.
a little
Is-
bit left over for heroin.
It will be fine. 82, bam. I go out with a bang. I'm high. Ha.
It's actually a good idea.
Right?
Oh, maybe Jimmy will take you up on it. You got another 50 years to
If
go.
I make it to 82, we're gonna go get some
We're there.
heroin.
We're there.
Shoot. I'll watch. Every time I try to smoke weed, I just pass out. So I don't even know how people do it. You don't do any. You don't. Nobody does it.
I don't do it anymore. No.
Yeah. I could never. Like I'll just. And And it dries out my skin, you know? Like, I need to protect the skin these days, you know? Like,
for us
Right?
as
Yeah.
Asian women,
Yeah,
like that's
even
really
alcohol.
important. Anything that gets in the way of
Exactly.
drying out the
You have
skin is no
beautiful
good.
skin.
Oh, no, thank you. So
Yeah.
do you. So I understand.
right? Like, there's like 1,200 bottles of stuff on my vanity table.
You guys will both look 20 until you're 80.
Well, we have.
And then you'll look like 2,000 years old.
Hi, my name
There
is
is that thing with Asian women,
all
like
of
they
a
look
sudden,
like it, and all
you'll
of a sudden
turn
they
into a
turn,
prune.
and it's like 50
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
age
Yeah.
and like
Meet
6
my
months.
lawyer, Connie.
Yeah, for real. They look young.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they're your sister.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then
Yeah.
they're grandma.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
meet my lawyer, Connie. She's on heroin. like, 82.
Actually, heroin, I heard, preserves your body. So that's a good idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's another win for you, Connie.
I don't have to go to like the Korean like spa treatments anymore. You just use